Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Innovation World Tour, session number 3, and we're taking an international bus ride around the world. And right now we can take 7 more stops. I'm going to let each speaker introduce themselves and where they're from. But right now we're going to take our first stop at DERMALOG, and Jan Nak will be presenting from their showroom over there. So Jan, please take the stage. Please tell us where you're presenting from. Jan, you're on mute.
Okay, yes, I'm Anura. Good day to you. Good day to all of you. And welcome to the DERMALOG booth, our showcase of innovations. And I would like to give you a short introduction about the company and then about our products and innovations about contactless or touchless identification. So I'd like to share the screen now. On my PowerPoint. 1 second. So I hope this will start now. I hope you can see this now. So I'd like to give you a short introduction about the company, about our software, about our hardware, and the solutions we are offering around this. And certainly at the end, I would like to give you some insights about the innovations we are working on right now and which we are launching soon in terms of contactless identification. So about DERMALOG. DERMALOG, we are a German company. We are sitting here in our head office in Hamburg right now. Around this, or in addition to this, we have offices in Nigeria, in Malaysia, Philippines, and we are on the market since over 25 years now. And at present, we have in Hamburg about 218 engineers working for our solutions. We received a few awards in the recent years, and one of our key shareholders is the German Bundesdruckerei, which is 100% owned by the German government. In the recent years, we managed to install more than 230 installations worldwide in 90 different countries. The key customer base is government-based, certainly. Different ministries where biometric projects are needed to support their services. But more and more final or private sector is coming into place, like banks, insurance, telcos, where biometric is needed. And here we have a wider field of customer base now. We are a multimodal biometric provider, means we are offering and we are having in-house developed algorithms for fingerprints, face, and iris technology. Certainly, we are also able to add different biometrics on top, but these key components of each biometric solutions are developed here in-house at DERMALOG. These algorithms and products are proven over the years through different institutes like BSI, FBI, TÜV, or NIST, and certainly in our projects which we are doing worldwide. The ABIS is mainly the key of each biometric project. It's a multimodal system which is able to interface to legacy system, to existing databases, for example, and easy to integrate into different front-end solutions like iris scanners, palm scanners, finger scanners, drones, for example, for video surveillance, mobile solutions, certainly, etc. So DERMALOG is not only a software provider, we are basically also a hardware manufacturer. We are the manufacturer of a wide range of fingerprint scanners, mobile devices, biometric gates and kiosk systems, as well as customized products like mobile enrollment units. Here you see the range of different readers we are offering, from fingerprint reader over 442 reader to our VF1, which is an all-in-one scanner, which is also able to capture fingerprints and documents at the same time. Here you see an example of a mobile registration unit, which we are using, for example, in Nigeria. Yeah, we are offering turnkey solutions at the end. Besides these components, these turnkey solutions are biometric ID card systems, biometric passports, border control, election systems, refugee registration, and banking, biometric banking solution, and many more. certainly. One example is, which we have implemented recently in the Philippines, the driving license, where we have implemented a turnkey solution end-to-end from the enrollment part over the data cleaning and database storing, data storing, until the personalization of the driving license. It comes with an e-portal solution, which is coming more and more important in each project. We have already implemented an e-portal system there, where we are able, or where the applicants are able to get the services from the driving license authority from home, where they can identify themselves from home and start their applications, for example. So another example from Africa is Nigeria. We have provided the largest biometric system basically in the banking area for nearly, or basically all bank customers are captured and managed by our system in the BVN. I have here a small video, which I would like to start now. I hope you can hear the audio.
Nigeria is, by population, the largest country in Africa. It has 165 million people and more than 50 million bank accounts across 22 banks. Nigeria's banks started the world's largest biometric project in 2014 with DERMALOG and its AFIS system. The new biometric system opens the world of banking, insurance and pension payouts to new customers who have never had a bank account before, especially in the low-income segment. Here in the Lagos branch of Diamond Bank, a customer wants to get her bank verification number for the first time. Each bank has its own AFIS system containing the fingerprints and faces of all bank customers. More than 30,000 live scanners are in use and connected with the AFIS. DERMALOG has installed an easy workflow for the bank employees when they have to capture a picture of the customer, scan their fingerprints, and store their signature in the database. The system ensures that every Nigerian citizen has only one single identity and does not open different accounts under different names. This effectively prevents fraud and money laundering. Also, people who are blacklisted cannot come in under different names. As such, the DERMALOG system has become a very effective tool under the KYC initiative of the Nigerian banks. When the customer has checked that all data are correct, the bank verification number will be generated. In the future, this woman will be able to verify her identity with a fingerprint wherever it's possible. 50 million bank customers are being enrolled in 2014 and 2015. And DERMALOG engineers are ensuring that the servers which are connected with more than 2,000 branches are in a stable condition.
Okay, so, but now I would like to, from the current projects we have done, I would like to give you some ideas what we are having in our pipeline, or even already on the market in terms of new innovations and in terms of contactless identification. At the beginning of the year and the beginning of the pandemic, we have came out very fast with a body temperature camera or thermal camera, which enables to capture the temperature of a person from a distance, like 2 meters in different areas. So this was a very innovative product, which we came at the beginning of the pandemic and could therefore serve with this product different areas and secure areas in terms of COVID-19 and to detect possible fevers of people coming in. So this is a product which we have already on the market. We have implemented about 2,000 installations worldwide now. And based on this, we are starting now also a new camera, which is basically an iris camera. This iris camera works at a distance. You see this also beside here. And it has basically 3 key functionalities, which is certainly the iris capturing at the distance of both irises. It can capture the face for face recognition, and it also can detect the body temperature of the applicant. So I have also here a small video which shows the functionality of this device. So you see here, this device it has an auto adjustment functionality inside. So you will see at the end also the height and the position of the applicant doesn't need to be that accurate, because the system, the camera inside is adjusting to the position of the applicant themselves by capturing the face. So you see here, once the face is captured, the irises will be captured as well for further identification in our backend system, for example. Here you see the different angles which the camera detects or can detect and auto adjust according to the need and to the position of this applicant. So with this, I'd like to end the presentation now. So you should see me now in full picture again. Another innovation I would like to show you is our touchless fingerprint capture application, which we are able to install on a regular mobile phone, a regular Android phone, or iPhone. So I have this application on this device. So my challenge is now to share the screen with this device. So this is here, this one. So you should see now the application or the screen of the of the Android phone. So it's a very simple application what you see now, but the key is certainly when I start on capture, a frame will disappear or will appear, and I'm asked to put my 4 fingers into this frame. When I have the correct distance and position, the system captures all 4 fingerprints. It segments these fingerprints and starts the coding process. Coding means we are able to set the minutiae on each fingerprint and give also a quality indication in this application, which you can see here, which is based on NFIQ2. So capturing is one thing, but also you need to identify. So in this presentation on this application, I'm now able to capture my fingerprints again, and the application is basically matching against the previous enrolled fingerprints. And now you see in the lower part of the image score, it's basically green, so all fingerprints match positively against the previous enrolled fingerprints. So we think this is a very interesting product which can be used in many solutions at the end. Starting from, let's stop this now, starting from mobile payment, mobile verification, without the use of a cost-intensive fingerprint scanner, for example. So, so therefore we see here, this is something where we have a wide range of use cases and products where this component can be provided with our solutions. So this is basically, I'm coming to the end of the presentation. I think we are now coming to the Q&A part. So.
Thank you so much, Jan, for that wonderful presentation. So yeah, we do have questions from the audience. So somebody has asked body temperature. What wavelength in nm and accuracy in Kelvin does the camera have?
Okay. Yes, the accuracy of the temperature certainly is important questions. It depends certainly also on the environment where you are, as we capture from a distance. So we need to consider the room temperature and other factors. But in general, we are able to provide an accuracy between 0.5 and 0.3 degrees for the FLC1 camera, and certainly also for the iris camera at the end.
All right, and so somebody has also asked, have you deployed the iris DERMALOG camera to any organization or country?
Yeah, we have right now we have one POC where we are installed this right now, but it's a new product, and we are certainly looking for projects where we can implement it. we have one installation right now where this camera is in use. Yes.
Okay, cool. And so somebody from the audience has asked, COVID-19 is driving demand for touch-free interactions. Will this cause a decline in the usage of public fingerprint biometric devices as private consumer device fingerprint biometric applications may not be affected?
Not sure whether I got the question right. I mean,
since there's such a panic about COVID, do you think public biometric devices, will they still be used?
Yeah, I think on the short term, yes, because it's a new technology which will take a bit to be implemented widely. But on the long term, this solution, I think, have a good chance to replace many contact fingerprint systems shortly, because the advantages are clear and the accuracy is getting better and better. And soon, it depends also on each use case and each project you are going to use it. But we think, and the product is able to do very accurate one-to-one verifications, and therefore it will most likely replace a lot of contact systems in the future.
Right. And so somebody has asked, which has better security and accuracy? Is it the optical or contactless fingerprint reader?
So far, certainly the optical. The optical, where we do not say you can use the contactless or touchless captured images for like one-to-many searches, like in large-scale ABIS systems like we do now. Herefore, you need still the optical readers to capture high-quality fingerprint images and to enable the system to make accuracy searches. So this is therefore the optical readers will always play, also in the near future or in the long term, a big role for enrollment of data. But for capturing, for verification, this solution is certainly a very good option.
Wonderful. So that you've answered most of the questions from our audience. So would you like to say anything before we move on to our next stop?
Yes, certainly. We are very happy. I mean, we would love to invite you for coffee or even a beer after 6 o'clock. This is not possible right now, but please visit us today and also tomorrow on our virtual booth. We have set up here in Hamburg. Maybe we can just make a quick turnaround, different applications, different systems for enrollment, for the iris, for the finger and face. You can see our different devices live in action. Like the VF1, the kiosk terminal, and also the new iris camera. And on top, we have certainly also other applications which we have not talked about today, like the criminal ABIS system, our mobile units, and certainly also different use cases and functionalities in the biometric banking corner, which we can see over here, and also border control. Yeah, we can give you a deep insight look into these applications and solutions, and we would be happy to have you and answer your questions and see how we can support you in your projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jan. That was wonderful. And so now we're moving on. Our next stop is with integrated biometrics. Robert, are you here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So wonderful. Please introduce where you're speaking from.
Okay. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where you are joining us from in the world. Thank you for joining Integrated Biometrics at the virtual ID for Africa Marathon of Innovations. It might be virtual, however, we are live and in person. Welcome to Johannesburg, South Africa, which hosted the ID for Africa in 2019. So welcome back. IB has offices based in the USA, Korea, and China. We have representatives all over the world, whether direct representation or through our valued partners. IB is an international hardware manufacturer. Fingerprint biometric images are the cornerstone to any biometric system, whether for national ID, voters registration, financial inclusion, healthcare, or law enforcement. IB's product family starts with a single fingerprint scanner and stems all the way up to our 10-print scanners. I would like to share my screen and provide a quick demonstration of the LES technology. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Okay, so I'll be doing a quick enrollment utilizing the 5.0 device, which is our FAP50 certified TFT scanner. The application that I'm using is a demo program which is provided with our IB Scan Ultimate SDK, which allows for front-end development for image acquisition. And that's a 10-print enrollment done. We utilize NFIQ scoring, whether it's NFIQ1 or NFIQ2, to provide high-quality images at the point of enrollment. I just want to zoom into a picture here quickly. You'll notice on the ridge lines of my fingerprints, there's small little white spots. Those are my sweat pores, which gives you an indication of the high-quality image that we can provide at the point of capture. If you capture a low-quality image in any national database, you will have a higher false acceptance or rejection rate based on low-quality images. Thereby, the ideal is to capture high-quality prints at your point of enrollment. Okay. What I'd like to demonstrate quickly here is just a demo viewer, which will give you an indication of the images that we provide. So our LES film generates your fingerprint image in a blue light. Sorry, my demo view is a bit small for a virtual event. IB's LES technology captures high-quality images from robust, lightweight scanners with exceptionally low power requirements, making it ideal for the African market, whereby you can go to the last mile with a mobile device and one of our scanners to do a full customer onboarding. We meet and exceed customers' expectations on each project. We have delivered successful projects with our partners, whether solutions providers or OEM manufacturers, internationally. Please feel free to visit our virtual booth or visit our webpage at integratedbiometrics.com for further information or assistance for your next project. I have rushed through my demonstration quite a bit. I'm used to consuming at least an hour's time with partners. So from here, we can go through to the questions, if there are any questions that have arisen so far.
Well, no questions yet. So audience, please start asking questions. But in the meantime, could you tell us where has it been implemented so far? Any countries, organizations?
Okay, we've got deployments right across the world. CBP in the United States is utilizing our Kojak scanner at each and every border point. Okay, we have also utilized it for financial inclusion within Nigeria as well. We have achieved certification with NIBS, and soon we will be deploying Kojak scanners to the National Identity Commission in Nigeria as well. We have various telcos that have utilized our scanners as part of their eKYC applications throughout Africa. We have also implemented border controls in Europe as well, and law enforcement in the UK. The use cases for the LES technology is endless. If you have a requirement, we can meet it.
Sorry about that. And could you give us some context in context of COVID? Can you tell us some applications of this technology and device?
Okay. What we've picked up in the market during this year of COVID, that there has been a resistance to individuals wanting to place their fingers on scanners. However, internationally, all organizations should be using health practices, which is sanitizing your hands before and after use. When you walk into any organization's offices, you are touching door handles, chairs, and desks. So the resistance against touching a fingerprint scanner is slightly absurd. As long as you follow correct hygiene practices, you will still be clear and safe from picking up COVID. Integrated Biometrics is working on various systems at the moment, which we are trying to implement, which will then be able to kill any form of viruses and bacteria on our scanners, which is the next shift in the market. Thereby, we are still able to offer contact scanners and reduce the risks of infections.
Wonderful. Would you like to continue with some further information since you still have that time?
Okay. Integrated Biometrics, the main functionality of our LES film is to provide you with image quality. We work with a lot of OEM manufacturers, as well as third-party SDK providers to deliver solutions. So thereby providing you with interoperability. At no point do you have to be tied into a hardware manufacturer for your solution. Integrated Biometrics wants you to choose our technology and not be forced to utilize it. We want to be your first choice when it comes to biometric enrollment. And we've had that with some of the telcos where they have insisted on LES technologies.
Arnab, I'll just share the screen of the video. Wait.
We're sorry about that. Let me just get a new speaker join us.
Not a problem.
Sorry, go ahead.
So we do have various instances where end users as well as partners insist on the technology. When you're going out to the last mile and working in remote locations, you want a device that's going to be low power consumption, speed of enrollment, and still provide that image quality. That's why we've got various OEM manufacturers that have chosen our devices to integrate them into handheld units, whereby it alleviates them having to put additional battery sources into their handhelds to cater for the device. Our Kojak scanner, which is a FAP60 certified scanner, can be plugged into an Android smartphone or tablet and be utilized for a full day on a single charge.
Okay, so now the questions start pouring in. So now we're good. So one question is, how durable is your scanner surface comparable to the optical scanners?
Okay, the LES film is hardened, and because we don't use an elastomeric membrane, it is a lot more durable to the environments.
Great. And so somebody's asked, how about finger condition robustness?
Okay. The LES film works with a uniformity mask. So whether you have dry fingers or wet fingers, the uniformity mask will calibrate the device to provide you with optimal image capture.
Great. And how can you compare your technology with optical?
Okay. In certain instances, our technology is optical. What I'm going to do is just show you the Kojak quickly. So you have the LES film, which generates your fingerprint image in blue light. You have a darkroom environment with an optical camera based on the inside. So you still have an optical camera capturing it. The advantage of the LES film is we don't have glass prisms or internal light sources. So it makes it lightweight, durable, and low power consuming. We can also do enrollments out in the field in direct sunlight, where a lot of the optical devices do have difficulties when your external light is higher than what their internal light sources provide.
Right. And so can you somebody's asked, can you elaborate on the cost benefits of that optical versus your technology?
Okay. When you look at that, there are two forms of return on your investment. You have the initial upfront hardware costs. We are very competitive with our pricing structures against the traditional optical units. And then in the long term, you are able to reduce your maintenance costs because we have no consumable pads or additional components that needed for your scanner. And then you also have your customer usability. When you are doing high volume enrollments, you don't want to have to clean the device regularly between each scan. Thereby, you are able to process higher volumes of individuals and get them into the system. So for instance, in South Africa, we've got Ubank, which is associated with Teba Bank. Their main focus is mining employees. So what they've done in part of their deployment is their high volume branches utilize our Kojak scanner as well as our Watson Mini, which is our 2-finger scanner for enrollment. And then they utilize the Colombo Desktop, which is our single-finger certified scanner for the verification process. When you have a small branch in the middle of the sticks, you can utilize a single finger for onboarding because you don't have the large queues. But with our SDK, which caters for our full product range, you can simplify the process based on your needs. So instead of going and procuring slab scanners for all of your branches, you can mix and match between the different scanners.
Wonderful. And so somebody's asked, what about LFD on LES?
LFD? Oh, live finger detection. Okay, so Integrated Biometrics has released a software component called PAD, Presentation Attack Defense, whereby it'll reject any spoof attempts on the device. The LES technology has got 2 forms of liveness detection. One is a hardware-based liveness detection, which is it picks up the connectivity of a human finger. So it rejects most of your spoof attempts directly on a hardware level. And then with the implementation of our presentation attack defense, you are able to reject other spoofing attempts.
And somebody has asked, your antimicrobial solution, is it only for new devices or is it also for existing devices that are available?
Antimicrobial will be based on our LES film. So that'll be for new devices. We are currently in the R&D testing phase of the antimicrobial. There are other components which we are hoping will be sufficient to alleviate viruses, which will be based on a software change and not hardware. So it'll be backwards compatible to existing deployments in the market.
Great. And so somebody yesterday mentioned that one limitation of the TFT technology is the fact that you need to maintain contact with the outside frame. Is that really a limitation?
No, I wouldn't put it as a limitation. Now, TFT is a different type of image acquisition, which is a thin film transistor, which enables us to do a scanner like the 5.0, gives you a low form factor, direct point-to-point capture. The LES technology, you do need to touch the bevel of the device, thereby creating a proper fingerprint placement. We've had instances, especially in the rural communities, where people that are uneducated and don't understand the biometrics will place the tips of their fingers on a device. The tip of your finger is not providing sufficient biometric data to identify an individual. With the grounding bar on all of our scanners, it forces a correct placement to generate the fingerprint image.
Wonderful.
So, from our side, it is an advantage to our technology and not necessarily a disadvantage.
And so somebody's asking about production. How scalable is the production process? And can you respond without a huge delay to manufacturing tens of thousands of 442 scanners?
Currently, we are producing tens of thousands of slab scanners. We have got 2 film production plants based in Arizona as well as in South Korea. Then we have assembly lines in South Korea as well as in China. So based on the project requirements and the lead times required, we can meet exceptional volumes at output.
Wonderful. So you've answered a lot of questions that come in. So thank you for that. If you have anything else to share before we move on.
No, I think I've covered the technology. If any of the audience members would like to get hold of us to discuss a little bit more in depth, we can analyze their requirements and also provide guidance.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Wonderful. Okay, so next we have Laxton Group. We have Justin and Bessie Schneck.
Hello, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone from around the globe. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you everybody for hopping on our global bus. I know we're virtual today, but we're excited to be a part of this and hope to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes for us. Our presentation today is going to be a little bit broken up into 3 pieces. So I'm just going to give you a quick hello, and then I'm going to introduce you to Justin in the ultimate virtual because it's a pre-recorded video for him because of where he's located. And then we will tie in our CEO, Lyle, to do a Q&A with you after. Our highly adaptable multimodal biometric devices and kits are all over the globe. And we are delighted that we can give you a little bit of a behind the scenes tour today to talk about how we actually put this together, how our team works, and a bit about what our approach is. We cover off all of face, iris, voice, fingerprint, and temperature control in our devices. As we know, with the COVID-19, that's become quite the relevant topic of conversation these days. And we are also part of that world. We work with many industries, so law enforcement, border control, civil ID, elections and voting, and access control as well, tied to COVID-19, as well as many, many others. And most recently, we are very excited to say that we worked with the Ghana Electoral Commission, and we were a key part of their parliamentary national voter registration. And really unique for us was we actually did and deployed that project during the COVID-19 pandemic event, epic pandemic, whatever we want to refer to it as, that we're all still very much experiencing. So we're going to showcase that a little bit in our video as well, to tell you a little bit about how we approach that. But we are very excited that 17 million voters were able to biometrically register fingerprint and facial for that, and to get it done in time for the election that just happened a couple of days ago. So thank you so much for joining me today. And if you'll just give me a moment, I'm going to share my screen and we'll take you behind the scenes on Laxton. I just want to confirm that the sound is heard. Can everyone hear the sound?
No, we can't hear the sound.
Okay, one moment. Just give me one moment.
Good morning or good evening to everyone that is joining us from all around the globe for the 2020 ID for Africa Marathon of Innovations. My name is Justin Uren, President of China Operations for Laxton Group. While we cannot meet each other today in person with a handshake, a nice chat or even a drink together, we still wanted to join in with a type of behind the scenes look at the work that we do here. Laxton is a global enterprise in elections, identity and security that has impacted lives of millions of people worldwide. We have offices on 6 continents, with our main locations being South Africa, the Netherlands, Germany, Portugal, Australia, the US of A, and here, Guangzhou, China. So today we'll have a blend between storytelling about Laxton and showcasing how we create and build our products. Our flagship Chameleon series, which includes the 5R, is built right here and is the first device of its kind to truly mobilize authentication. This year, ID for Africa is highlighting the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. And like all of you, our team can relate to this experience as well. Yet we are proud to say that even during these challenging times, the Laxton team has been focused on making massive strides in an area of mobilization, and I can confidently tell you that we now and continue to produce and deliver. For us, it's a key factor to ensure that people everywhere can get access to digital identity and authentication in a way that is quicker and easier. The building of our devices, like the Chameleon 5R, the Hybrid, and the Chameleon D, for example, help get authentication to individuals who are on the go at a time when it's needed most. We've pulled together a highlight reel that will take you behind the scenes into our nearly 13,000 square meter facility here in Guangzhou. After this tour, we'll host you for an exclusive Q&A. We'll be delighted to answer any of your questions about products we're working on, share how our team mitigated the challenges of COVID-19, and tell you what we're about to do for the future. Now, before I take you any further, I'm actually going to invite another member of our team who is currently in North America to continue the journey with you, where she'll share some more insights on how and what we do. Bessie, take it away.
Thank you, Justin. Hello to everyone around the world. It is my pleasure to share in the telling of Laxton's story as you tour with us through our state-of-the-art facility. Our high-security, fully equipped factory has 7 floors, and each one provides a key support to the development of our flagship technologies, the Chameleon range of products. Our products include biometrics, face, iris, voice, and fingerprint, big data analytics, and cryptography, digital signatures, encryption, public key infrastructure. As I guide you through today, I will share some interesting things to note. Laxton is globally recognized as a leader in providing cost-effective, high-technology election, identity, and security solutions since 2004. When we built this facility, every detail of the design was carefully considered with the future in mind, thinking about changes in technology and how to be able to perform for all the intricacies of our product under one roof. We wanted a space that would continuously ignite innovative and creative thinking, consider the needs of our diverse team, and also be a facility that would allow for growth and scaling in the future. We have hundreds of staff that share this space, and we welcome countless people through to our building each year. When preparing our facility, we ensured to account for the natural flow of our product from the first step to the very last. We have an environment that is fully prepared to allow everyone to stay connected internally between departments, operate efficiently, and thereby ensure the continued success of our company. Throughout the building, you will see machinery and technology that are unique to our industry and that make it possible for us to produce the best biometric devices. Our ultra-modern technology and production facilities have the certifications to ensure 100% compliance and adherence to standards, and we are accredited as a high-tech company. When it comes to our actual products, our mobile, rugged, multimodal biometric hardware and software solutions help solve the problems of many industries. Offering end-to-end solutions has a direct impact on industries like law enforcement and their frontline, investigative and forensic needs, elections, civil ID, border control, and many more. Here in Guangzhou, we create, innovate, design, produce, and pack our products. The workshop is a combination of design, cutting, metalworks, carpentry, and molding. This is perhaps the most industrial part of the facility. Each area is specific to a core step of the overall process. So from cutting, sponge, and metalwork to crate prep and molding, the workshop is where it happens. The most minute details need to be accurate to a fraction of a millimeter in our mold department, and the fine polishing of the segments is one of the specifics we take on with incredible precision. Our design studio houses a team of talented industrial and graphic designers that focus on visually bringing our innovative concepts to life. Finishing involves different skills and machines to complete casting, printing, and painting. And this isn't your everyday kind of printing and painting, mind you. We're talking about massive scale 3D printing machines that have incredible accuracy and that can combine the entire spectrum of colors. No ordinary at-home inkjet printer, that's for sure. And now consider for a moment that the same technology that is used to paint the very automobiles you have at home is what we use in the factory. Our spray system results in incredible coverage, detail, and finish. So far, we've deployed over 1 million devices worldwide. Over 100 million people biometrically registered around the globe on these devices. That's a lot of people that are connected by them. With each device we assemble, we think about the positive impact we are making. Citizen identity matters and needs to be solved with different solutions. Our hardware development factors this in. Kits, for example, are a very important part of what we do. We pull together all the different hardware and components, acquired in a compact format, to ensure that they can be packaged for deployment and used in any type of environment, even in the difficult Arctic climate. Suited up and ready for action. The Laxton team here deals with the tiniest parts of the chameleon suite of products to be assembled. The work is intricate and impactful, and in order to ensure that there is no disturbance to the end technology, everyone is geared up in protective suits in the air-filtered chambered space. There is also a lot of what we do that happens on computers and even sometimes begins right down with pencil and paper. Everything from software development and design engineering to the promotion of our company's message to the world has an active and dedicated team behind it. This includes our incredible sales team that manage different time zones to ensure that we can continue to always be the company to deliver and bring peace of mind to our clients. The passionate team at Laxton makes a world of difference. Our talent is where it starts as we develop our own IP, products, and solutions. Our range of products, hardware and software, are thoughtfully designed to solve significant mission-critical problems in the elections, identity, and security space. Although 2020 has been an unusual year, it's not without its successes. One such highlight of 2020 was that even during the COVID-19 pandemic, we were on the ground in Ghana and able to deploy an incredible 8,500 biometric enrollment registration kits and 76,000 Chameleon 5L biometric handheld devices to support the Ghanaian Electoral Commission to ensure that this year's national election would not be missed or even delayed. With our suite of products beginning all the way on the other side of the world, we strategized, innovated, planned, and planned B'd to ensure that not only were we able to deliver, but on time and without contributing to any increase in the COVID-19 cases in Ghana. This is a project that not only reached the intended 15 million voters, but over 17 million voters. An effort we are proud to say we could not have done without the incredible aptitude of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, who worked right alongside with us as we adapted and met changing demands. Laxton has been chosen by people with large-scale and human-impacting problems that need solutions. We've been selected over and over again as an inventive, responsive, and reliable performance-based team that consistently delivers peace of mind. The industries we support have distinct needs that affect people of all ages and demographics, regardless of where they live. We work collaboratively with local system integrators and niche vendors to ensure project success and inclusion around the globe. Our impact is felt in industries such as border control, law enforcement, government, civil ID, and the military. We are exceptionally proud of our facility and have done many things to make it our own. It is always enjoyable to take people through our building, and we're glad that you could join us today virtually. And now I will pass you back to Justin, who's going to close out our tour.
Thank you, Bessie. And there you have it, a short overview of what we do here at Laxton. Each day we work to ensure that we continue to be solution orientated and provide products that are reliable, durable, and deliver great solutions to the challenges presented. It's been our pleasure to spend this time with you, and on behalf of the whole Laxton team, I thank you. We hope to be able to host you in person very soon.
Thank you everyone for taking a few minutes to tour behind the scenes with us. And on behalf of Justin, I would like to extend a warm thank you for your time and a welcome and an invite to reach out at any point. So I will pass along the torch now. And if you have any questions, I'd like to invite our CEO, Lyle, to just join in, and he will take it away from here.
Thank you, Bessie. Mishka, can you just allow me access to enable my video?
Yes, sorry about that. Are you able to turn it on now?
Yes, I am. Okay, perfect.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. That was wonderful. We actually, one of the questions, the question is, I'm so blown away with Laxton. I hope I have the opportunity to visit. So that's good. Yeah, that was a question. All right, so we do have other good questions. All right, so somebody has asked, we saw a lot of innovative and great devices. What about your data strategies? How can you help your customers manage data, especially migrate data as hardware devices become obsolete and need upgrades?
Yeah, so I think, data migration is always, every use case is rather different, but I think it just follows the sort of standard conventional approaches where, our team would have to, work with the provider and understand their data structures. And then, exporting data from those systems, into other database structures or, into other devices is certainly, something that's pretty standard and actually done on almost every project we work on. Because, other than the issue of data transfer and consolidation across devices and different companies, typically all of our systems have to interact with systems in a large ecosystem. So it's usual to have interoperability between systems, and then you've also got other global initiatives like ISAIA, whereby you see the industry coming together and creating an open source platform for various governments, so that there's standards that are written and all the various organizations in the world actually ensure that they are able to interact with that sort of set of standards. So Laxton is part of ISAIA together with various other key players within the industry.
Wonderful. And so somebody has asked, what standards do your devices comply with?
Okay, so standards, that's a long laundry list, but I think, obviously, the typical ones are your FBI and NIST standards that I think apply specifically to biometrics. But I mean, in terms of there's ISO standards, there's CE standards, there's FCC standards, there's mil-spec standards. There's a pretty long list on that question.
Wonderful. And so another audience member has asked, what is the maximum weight of Laxton mobile device products?
Okay, so our handheld devices are exceptionally light. They're typically less than 1 kilogram. And then in terms of the biometric registration kits, you've got some that are as low as 5 kilograms, but we typically don't like to go more than roughly 12 kilograms, because obviously you want the devices to be easy to carry, and in situations where it's a little bit heavier, so there are applications where a larger equipment is required by nature of the use case of the project. We typically supplement those scenarios with easy to carry shoulder straps or backpacks. But our goal certainly as a company is to focus heavily on mobility. So we're typically getting things lighter and smaller, and actually have an enormous focus to actually shrink our products so that they fit in your hand. And a good example of that is our Chameleon 5R range, which effectively has as much functionality and capability as what you see at an immigration border control center in an airport, in terms of its ability to capture biometrics, facial, as well as do very deep and intricate document authentication, going right down going right down to analyzing the UV characteristics and infrared characteristics of a document.
Thank you so much, Lyle and Bessie. That's all the time we have for you, unfortunately, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mishka, and thank you to everybody.
Thank you for your time, and feel free to visit us virtually at our booth, or reach out directly with any member of our team through the community chat or direct message, and we'll get back to you for sure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so we're moving on, and now we have someone from Ernst & Young. Let me just elevate them to the screen. Hello, Mr. Neeraj and Mr. Shushmit.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Shushmit, can you please project the screen?
Yes, Neeraj, doing it. Is the screen visible, Neeraj?
Yes, it is. So we'll start with a small video and then we'll get into the presentation.
Is the video visible?
Yes. Can you please increase the voice?
Your audio level is really low.
Shushmit, can you increase the volume?
Like sensing, manpower, hosting, specialized support, or worry about coding or development. Government and departments struggle due to lack of better analytics and data. If only there was a...
Sorry, could you please restart the video with the volume?
Information and is accessible for all. E-Privati's goal of one government aims to provide all citizen services online with the citizen life cycle approach.
Could you please restart the video? Could you please restart the video?
Shushmit, can you please restart the video?
Yes, Neeraj.
Yeah, the volume was not audible.
India's sunrise state, Andhra Pradesh, with a teeming population of 53 million, is spread across an area of 62,920 square miles. The eighth largest state of India by size, Andhra Pradesh has a GDP of $130 billion, making it the seventh.
All right, we're going to have to stop you again. It seems the audience cannot hear you. Could you, when you're sharing your screen, could you enable sound sharing? Could you? Yeah, at this time when you share your screen, tick mark share computer sound. The audience cannot hear.
India's sunrise state, Andhra Pradesh, with a teeming population of 53 million, is spread across an area of 62,920 square miles. The 8th largest state of India by size, Andhra Pradesh has a GDP of $130 billion, making it the 7th wealthiest state of India. While Andhra Pradesh has been rated as the top state in the country for ease of doing business by World Bank, however, citizens still have to fill lengthy forms when a certificate vault can enable their information access throughout the entire life cycle. Departments work in silos because of lack of centralized information and have to struggle with authentic data, licensing, manpower, hosting, specialized support, or worry about coding or development. Government and departments struggle due to lack of better analytics and data. If only there was a core and centralized system which collates systematic information and is accessible for all. ePragati's goal of one government aims to provide all citizen services online with the citizen life cycle approach enabled by EY. Now every department can develop any web or mobile application as per their need without worrying about identifying or system integrators, procurement of product licenses, or manage the hardware. They can now simply put the requirements together and work with an identified system integrator for application development on the ePragati core platform. The journey of digital transformation caters to 33 departments, 745 services, over 72 projects, and integrates 7 missions. Handholding for the next 5 years, EY is partnered with ePragati Authority to provide a core platform for all government departments. To make this project a success, EY, with its partner agency, Pega Systems, will ensure a core platform for application development and service delivery, enterprise service bus and API gateway for integrated department services, common databases for all departments of Andhra Pradesh, security to the entire application, business intelligence and analytics, integration with existing or external applications, data warehouse connected with social media, unlimited number of licenses so that every department can develop any application. And finally, an end to the citizens' woes of running between various departments by being a single window for all the government services. EY is helping change lives of citizens through digital transformation.
Mr. Neeraj, you're muted.
Neeraj, you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sushman. So we saw a small video where EY was an advisor. So we'll just walk you through a small presentation. Say, first of all, EY is not a not a technology player here in identity and social protection services. We are an advisor to the government, say in enabling them to fulfill their vision. So EY work closely with the think tanks, the multilaterals, the governments, the SIs, say to fulfill the vision of the vision of the government. So can you move on to the next slide? So here, what we are showing is some of the capabilities and some of the work that that we have done with the various government across the globe. And these are primarily our identity and identity enabled services projects, wherein we have been there in the start of the project, where EY has drafted the policies, helped them develop the program strategies, did the program design, the implementation, rollout, and so on and so forth. So here what we understand is EY understands that the technology is one of the enablers of providing an identity. And we have been seeing some amazing presentation from all the technologists and all the technology service providers. Say they are in mobile, they are secure credentials, biometrics, there are some kits, hardware, software, and so on and so forth. But what we see is, say, identity is not just about technology. It has a lot many components here which enables identity. They are policies, there are processes, there are partnerships, there are financial programming, there is capacity building training, so as to make sure that there is no vendor or technology login that is created in the identity program run for decades. So in a past, say almost 2.5 decades of experience in identity, we have realized that there are some of the principles which are paramount while designing such. So I will just walk you through some of our programs and some of the salient features of those programs. So there are, say, 3 layers. What we can say is, say, one is a completely greenfield implementation, where we help the government to create the vision for their identity programs. Then there are some brown fields, say, where the governments are looking for an upgrade, a technology upgrade, for ensuring that they are upgrading their existing facilities to cater to the larger audience as well as the emerging business needs, and obviously ensuring that there is security and privacy that is being taken care of. Then the last one is, say, some of the very advanced systems where they would like to add more services and harness more potential of an identity program. So we have been working on almost all the areas. So I will just give you a few examples where we have worked and what we have worked and how it has helped. So from the nascent part of it, so there are countries like Togo, wherein they started our journey some 3 years back. We helped them design their systems basis some of the principles carved out by the leading institutions like World Bank, ADB, AFDBs, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Tata Trust, so who have laid down the principles. So the solution was built up and the program was designed using those principles. Then another program which does not require any introduction is Aadhaar. So EY has been a partner of Aadhaar since almost a decade now. So EY started its journey almost a decade, where we help them design the solution as well as say laid down the technical and the functional requirements to onboard the right partner. The right SI partner also brought in some technology capabilities which came from the various biometric vendors, infrastructure service providers, CRM solutions, fraud analytics solutions, just to ensure that it meets its objective. The other aspect is on the say a brown field. Say in a brown field, we have been working many countries like Cambodia, the UAE, where they want to upgrade their solutions for different needs. Say Cambodia, they want to make their system more open, so the various sectors can harness the true potential, provide services in and around it, so as to make more the citizen service more accessible. Then there is a country like Emirates who has a very good, robust and a very good system, identity system, which has been running for more than a decade now. Say they wanted to further secure and ensure privacy as a principle is embedded into it. So these are few examples. Then there are others as well in Zambia who wanted to upgrade the solution and wanted to do cost benefit analysis. And the last one is, say, now we are helping Aadhaar again, say for their technology upgrade. So they have been, it has been a hugely successful program, but now there are more services which are being enabled through Aadhaar. Plus, there are a lot of technology advancements in the last decade, which the Aadhaar wants to leverage and ensure that the future needs and expectations are being met. So these are the areas. So we want to specifically say that we advise the various governments to find the right solution, which is technology neutral, vendor neutral, and it is more, say, which meets the requirements or the government requirements, as well as which best suits the local context. So this is from the say the examples per se, case studies per se. We have detailed case studies. Can we move on to the next slide? So this is the service catalog of identity management. So this is where we say we provide end-to-end services right from the policy to ensuring that the ROIs of the identity system is managed. So this includes change management, technology advisory, biometric advisory, data privacy, which is a critical component of identity system. And this is which is one of the primary concerns of many nations, primarily across the board, which is whether it's a developing nation or it's a developed nation. This has become of a paramount importance. The other aspect is, say, what we have seen is many system in identity fail because there is no training and capacity building. What we have understood is over a period of time, the government and the residents of the country should be able to take over and transition from the SI and manage on its own. And it should not create a vendor lock-in. This is where we have seen say the solution or the systems that have been designed by EY should cater to those requirements. The other aspect is sustainability. Say, there are a lot of technologies available, but not every country wants a particular technology. Finding the right solution, the exact solution, the best fit solution is where our expertise come into picture. And we have been doing a lot of feasibility studies regarding it, audits in and around it. Say the other aspect is the procurement. So procurement is one of the key areas wherein it can make or break a particular vision. So this is where we think that the procurement is key to getting the right vendor on board with the right scope of work, and it is delivered on time. The other key aspects are business model. So sustainability of identity system is very, very important. The cost and the benefit, there should be a balance in and around it. If cost outweigh the benefits, then the systems fail. This is what we have seen in the past. And the other aspect is, say, now earlier the identity systems were for a country and it provided services for the country, but no more. Say there has been cross-border integrations. EIDAS is one example. The Africa WURI region is trying to create such integrations. Similarly for ASEAN and others. So this is another aspect where we have been providing services. Next slide. Over to you, Sushmit.
Yep. So basically, Neeraj has broadly covered how we help governments implement their ID management systems and processes and services related to it. So social protection, creating a social registry and a service delivery platform is of critical importance. So once we build an ID, building around ID and building on ID becomes of primary importance. So we advise governments, and we also design systems, business workflows, processes, end to end. So from starting from a beneficiary identification to the final delivery of the service and transfer of a benefit, if involved, is basically what we specialize in. I will give an example. So there could be a question of, if we have a platform integrator, we have a system integrator, we have a government, where does EY fit in? So once we were doing a project in Maharashtra, that's a state in India, in there was a certain issue that once the benefits are disbursed to the students, they don't go and pay their colleges. So there's a scholarship scheme in which they get the tuition fee, the examination fee, and all the fees. They don't go and pay up. So that's where EY stepped in, and we devised the flow based on the status of the student, whether the fee has been paid or not paid initially. The benefit would be diverted to the citizen as well as the institution. That was one. Secondly, going with all the COVID relief measures, different governments and various governments are announcing packages, relief measures, this universal cash transfers. So, for example, India announced we'll be paying 2,000 rupees a month to all the widows in the country, 2,000 rupees a month to all the senior citizens of the country. But there comes the inclusion and the exclusion of the citizens. So how we manage that a widow who is also a senior citizen or vice versa has to be included or excluded. These are some key critical areas with respect to social protection, which we cater to. Apart from that, when we have multiple ministries and departments working in silos, there has to be one common integration, a social registry ID for deduplication, for having that common analysis and data analytics and dashboards and BI. So for that comes the importance of a social registry. As you can see on the slide, the other categories or areas which we help in with respect to social protection are basically the policy framework, which Neeraj covered, procurement and vendor onboarding, last mile delivery, the registration to the delivery processes, the public fund management system, the security audits, the delivery touch points. So last mile delivery, we have difficult terrains in countries. We have terrains in countries which do not have a good technological infrastructure, no connectivity. How do we reach out to them? Suggestions of creating alternate service delivery points. How do we modify the existing service delivery points to reach out to them? So these are the various areas, as I said, from identification of a beneficiary to the final disbursement or service delivery is where we come in. And that is where we come in and make the solution for the government robust, seamless, transparent, accurate, and most importantly, savings. These lead to savings to the government because of the removal of ghost beneficiaries. Beneficiaries who are not ineligible, beneficiaries who do not exist. So removal of them with streamlined business processes, timely execution of services is what we make sure happens when a government implements an ID system and a social protection system. Neeraj, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mishika. So any queries, questions?
Yes, we do. We just have 3 minutes left, but let's see how much we can fit in. So somebody has asked, what role do you usually adopt when you go after an identity project? It was not clear if you also do system integration or just advisory work. And do you help countries also pre-RFP?
Yes.
3 questions in one.
3 questions. So thank you for the query. So we do the complete gamut of things. Say we help say create the vision, design the program, say create the functional and the technical requirements, prepare the processes, develop the processes, develop the operating model, the business model, the financial model. So this is one part of advising. The second one is the procurement and the vendor onboarding, as we covered in this. So we do the complete bid process management. So this includes RFP, the program management services, the transition management services. Say if there is already a vendor who is onboarded and is providing the services, which is the similar work that we're doing in Aadhaar right now. And the last one is a system integration. Say in system integration, we have done some work, but it is through the partners, not just EY. So we have partnered with some of the leading system integrators across the world to provide the solution. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does. So unfortunately, we're out of time. We definitely did above your 20 minutes, but thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. There are more questions in the Hoover app, if you could please answer them directly. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mishika.
Thank you. And now we're moving on to SURYS organization. Amori will be presenting from there.
Yes, hello everyone. So Mishka, you can say SURYS. This is the way to pronounce it. So first of all, I'd like to thank the ID for Africa organization for allowing us to be part of this amazing innovation world tour. So you can see that today I'm close by Paris. I'm not right downtown, but in a suburb. And I will show you a pre-recorded video of the presentation to ease the presentation. And basically, you know, since yesterday, we've seen many great presentation on hardware and digital ID solution, and that quite often rely on secure credential. So today, and in order to stay ahead of counterfeiters, we are going to take a look at one of SURYS' latest innovation for polycarbonate document, allowing us to enhance your document and to make it quite special. Okay, let me share my screen. Hello everyone. So today we are going to talk about embedded DOVID and try to answer this question. Why should we limit ourselves with embedded DOVID within a polycarbonate document? So first, let's look at passport with paper data page and ID1 card, you know, national ID card made of PVC or PET, for example. On both of those documents, the personalized data are right on top of the surface. And most of the governments, when they want to issue a very high security document, will use a high security DOVID laminate on top, which protects the whole surface of the document. And the reasons behind that are directly linked to the intrinsic characteristics of the DOVID. First of all, a DOVID is very easy to recognize, easy to verify, and quite impossible to replicate. Then, it allows for full data protection against both counterfeiting, yes, it's impossible to replicate or to duplicate, and against data manipulation. Because you have your laminate right on top of the personalized data, if you try to attack the personalized data to modify them, you will destroy the DOVID. Then it includes all 3 levels of securities, and this is allowed by a multi-technology integration within a DOVID technology. Finally, the design is very at the center of everything for the DOVID. It will it could carry national emblems. It will be looked at by all the citizens, all the users, and it's a national pride. So on large size laminate, on full face laminate, you can play with the design as much as you want. So now what would be interesting is to look at what happened following the beginning of the polycarbonate migration for the DOVID. So for the DOVID, we went from, as I explained before, a full face laminate to a rather small patch, or even no patch at all. So we could ask ourselves, is a small patch being sufficient? You know, back then we could hear that as the personalized data are embedded, they are protected. Or that, you know, we must avoid affecting the mechanical resistance of the document by integrating a large DOVID. Sometimes also you could hear that, you know, you could put the same optical effects within a small DOVID, so you have the same level of security. Or finally, people were asking themselves how they could integrate a large size DOVID within a polycarbonate document. But wait, are these arguments still valid? No, they aren't. And let's look at them one by one. First, if the personalized data are embedded, they are protected. Not at all, maybe at the beginning, because, you know, the counterfeiter needed to adapt, but, you know, since then they have adapted. Here on the slide, you can see that I just took 2 examples of the most common counterfeiting attacks that we can see on the market. So the first one, the one that you see on the top right corner, is the overprinting. So counterfeiters, they will apply a transparent overprinted layer on top of the picture to replace the genuine picture by their picture. And because you have such a small DOVID covering such a small area of the picture, then it's quite difficult to see if the picture is above or below or underneath the DOVID. Then you have another types of attacks that are front and backside attack, such as the data page scission. You know, the data page scission is what the counterfeiter will open up a polycarbonate data page or card and try to remove the personalized layer. And you know, the DOVID, it's right next to the personalized layer. So if you try to attack it, you will destroy the DOVID. But with a small patch, you could attack anywhere around.
Can you pause the video? Your video is not clear. We cannot read what's on the screen. Could you, 1 minute, we'll share from our side if that's okay with you. Just let us know which minute mark you are on.
Yeah, I guess I'm at 4 minutes, roughly.
Okay, 1 minute.
That, guys, I thought it was all right. Remove the personalized layer. And you know, the DOVID, it's right next to the personalized layer. So if you try to attack it, you will destroy the DOVID. But with a small patch, you could attack anywhere around it. Then, if we look at the other arguments, looking at what happened when integrating a large size DOVID. Yes, the argument of, you know, not affecting the mechanical resistance of the document is quite legitimate. But DOVID manufacturers, as us, have overcome this issue by developing dedicated product for polycarbonate documents using different strategies. Some of us use direct embossing onto polycarbonate sheets or to polycarbonate material. And some of us will spread out several DOVID components, allowing a perfect polycarbonate fusion in between every component. Then, within a same, a rather small patch, you can have the same optical features. Yes, it's true, because the DOVID is so precise that you can have several optical features within a very small area. But, well, you know, the DOVID includes all 3 levels of security. But its main reason is for an authentication at a glance. So it means that if you have a large laminate or large size DOVID, it's easy to do an authentication with your naked eyes. But if you have on several documents always the same type of patch, so circle or square, and it's very small, it becomes quite challenging to do such an authentication. And just looking at the facts, with a 20 by 20 embedded patch, you cover almost 90% less data than with a full face laminate. And finally, what was legitimate as well is, you know, how can we integrate large size DOVID within our document, because maybe we don't have the proper equipment. So you have 2 ways of answering that. First, you deliver PC sheets. I mean, we deliver PC sheets, you know, as DOVID manufacturers, PC sheets with DOVID already applied on it. But SURYS has developed also another process that allows us to deliver a roll of ready-to-be hot-stamped DOVID that the manufacturer can apply with standard equipment and without dedicated tool. So we could even have our customers, the manufacturers, apply them themselves. So, you know, we've seen that there is no reason why we should limit ourselves, and that large size DOVID are the future, are the new Eldorado. So let me introduce you the DID shape from SURYS. The DID shape is made out of several DOVID components dispersed on all or parts of the document surface. I mean, they are embedded, and all together they form a coherent overall design. Looking at the key advantages of the DID shape, first of all, a full data protection. I mean, depends on the size of your DOVID, but you could have up to a full data protection, all the personalized data and a good part of the picture. Then, because it's so large, it's much larger, it's easier to see, easier to remember, then it's easier to control. It allows, as I explained before, a perfect merging of the polycarbonate layers, because all components are spread out. In between every component, there is nothing, which means that the polycarbonate can fuse and the mechanical resistance is perfect. It will give to your document a new look, an enhanced look, which is not quite common on the market and very easy again to remember. It still allows for multi-technology integration, which makes it quite versatile and quite flexible in terms of design. And the design, I think that design is the key. The design must serve the security. That's why in the rest of the presentation we are going to look at the importance of the design and why the design should be the most essential part of all securities and how to have a good harmony within all securities. So this next part is called when design meets security. And what does that mean? It means that the design must act as a security enhancer. Here it's a good example of a perfect integration of a large size DOVID onto a polycarbonate data page. First of all, both design, the security background design and the DOVID design, have been made out of the same theme, which helps a lot when you control the document and to remember what to control, basically. The theme is a seabed. Here you can find several different technologies that are embedded into the DOVID. We will look at a video on which you will see that not only we have added some traditional DID elements. You know, the DID, it's two colors, red and green, permuting at 90 degrees when you turn the document 90 degrees, as a matter of fact. But we have also added some dynamic optical security, such as the DID wave. You see some dynamic wave when you do an up and down movement. You also have some virtual DID. Virtual DID, it's a 3D effect, quite easy, quite striking element, very easy to see. And we have added as well some diffuse DID on the MRZ to avoid any issue with the automated authentication using a passport reader. What's interesting then to see that to look at are the unlimited possibilities that are offered with the ID shape. First of all, you can add some security features. For example, you may know that roughly 43% of the newly issued passport with polycarbonate data page integrates a window. So it would be great to have a window-based security features built into the large size DOVID. This is the case here with the Twin DID. The Twin DID is made of two components, one on the front side, one on the rear side. On the front side, you have a circular elements, circular shape element, which is mostly green with some red text and design. On the rear side, you have a red rudder, a full red rudder. And when you look at both components, through the window, you see some yellow, and the yellow is just the addition of the green and the red. Let's look at a short video clip that shows you basically how it works. So you have the rear side component and the front side component, which is part of the large size DOVID. When you do a 90 degrees rotation of your document, you still have the color permutation, which makes it very strong against any types of counterfeiting. And obviously you see some green elements on the front side and some red elements on the rear side. What's interesting as well is to add some metallic elements. Metallic elements were quite common on large size laminate because you had so much space. You could have added to your laminate a rather small metallic elements that will increase the resistance against anti-counterfeiting. But metallic elements cannot be in an area where you have some personalized element. And putting just a standard metallic element, it's not great, because you have some risk of counterfeiting, using some packaging technologies, for example. In our case, we have integrating one of the latest development of SURYS, which allows to have a colorful metallic element and also to have the color in perfect registration with the design, which means that you can have, in this case, some gold and some purple on the shell that are perfectly registered with the design. And the shell is made as of a 3D element, which is very easy to see, quite striking and everything. Let's look at the short video that shows you a little bit what I just explained. And finally, what's very interesting as well, it's to look at the perfect harmony that can be brought using the DID shape or large size DOVID in between several ID documents. You saw on the previous slide that on the polycarbonate data page, we have used the seabed theme. And here, looking at a short video clip, here you can see that we have adapted this design for a polycarbonate ID1 card in this case. So you can see that this card is a dual interface card that integrates on the rear side a module protected by the CMI technology from SPS. You can also see that on top of it, you have a CAI which is embedded in between the layer of the polycarbonate document, and this CAI can be seen using a torch from behind. And what's very interesting here, you see that the CAI is positioned right below the ghost image, and on top of the ghost image you have a part of the DOVID, which means that the ghost image, which it's a secondary image of the main portrait, is protected in between two high-end securities, which means that basically it is protecting against front side and back side attack. Looking at SPS securities more in details. So first of all, the CAI I just mentioned. It's a customized antenna image. It's a level 2 security that can be seen using a torch, as I said. It's engraved in the aluminium, so it's part of the electronic inlay. It acts as an embedded watermark, and protect from backside attack. Then looking at the CMI Plus, which stands for Customized Module Image. In this case, the design elements are engraved onto the module using etching technology. It avoids module manipulation and reuse, because some counterfeiter will just take a module from a low-end card and apply it on a high-end card just to imitate that there is a module, you know. And here you can see some references from SPS. So you have many countries in Africa, for example, and you have France and Bangladesh. That's all for me, guys. So I would like to thank you all for having listening to me. And if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Amaury. And sorry we had that technical hiccup, but glad we got it sorted out.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have questions. So somebody has asked, in a world where identity is migrating away from physical credentials to the cloud or to mobile, why should governments continue to invest in physical security features? Is this only relevant where there is no connectivity to validate the document online? I would love to hear your vision for where this is going.
So first, this is a really good question indeed. So basically, the point which is raised up in the question where talking about connectivity is one of the key elements, because you cannot rely only on one thing when you implement a full ID. When you have a full ID management system, you cannot rely only on 100% digital. If anything happens, then everything is lost. So that's why having a secure physical credential on which you can rely on is very essential. Also, what's really interesting is the fact that, as I say at the beginning of the presentation, the fact that basically a lot of digital ID solutions nowadays are usually based on secure physical credential. And it's also because, you know, in most of the countries, the option to have a full centralized database, including all biometric information from your citizen, it's not an option, basically. So instead of having everything centralized and all the information centralized in a server where you know, something can happen, you know, on a large scale, a large amount of data, then to rely on a secure physical document, it means that the citizen have the power. So the citizen have the power to use, to show the document. It's a self-sovereign identity in a sense, because they have the key to go live and digital. And I will also talk about inclusion, because, you know, when you want to have a very wide digital ID program, we all know that inclusion is a key. And inclusion is taking into consideration older people, younger people, people with less or less money, for example. So the fact that everyone can have, and most of the time, a free ID document, which is secure, allows this person to go and have access to some services, even if he doesn't have access to the full services that you can get with a digital application.
Excellent. And so we have more questions. So somebody has asked, what colors are available? Are there only 2 colors?
So it depends on what you are talking about. If you are talking about the DID, which is our main technology, and all the effects that we have, so the waves, the virtual, yes, we have only 2 colors, but this is something which we believe is quite secure. One of the small issues that you can have with DOVID is the fact that if you don't know what to control, basically it's difficult to say whether or not it's a genuine DOVID. In our case, with this technology, it's quite easy. If you see a red and a green element, you turn your document 90 degrees in both color and permutes, means it's a secure solution. Then, yes, it's better if you have a better understanding of what you should control, but yes, definitely, our technology only allows to have red and green, and we believe it's a security key as well.
Great. And so an audience member has asked, does it influence the price if the size gets larger?
The price is always a matter, a critical matter, I would say. So it depends against what you are comparing. Definitely, you know, when I mentioned that when we moved to a polycarbonate document, we went from full face laminate on paper data page, for example, or passport with paper data page, to a very small patch protecting very few information. So obviously, if you compare a very small patch to a large one, in our case, yes, the price is affected. But definitely, if you look at the whole picture and considering, you know, all the data that are protected, the fact that you can have a better control, an easier control. And if you compare it also to go from a full face laminate on a paper data page to a full embedded DOVID into a polycarbonate data page, there is no price impact, or the price impact is basically to have a lower price in our case.
Thank you so much, Amori. If you want to give any closing remarks before we move on.
Thank you. I just like to, again, thank you, Mishka, thanks the ID for Africa organization, and feel free to stop by our booth, whether SURYS booth or even our sister company SPS and the mother company IN Group. All virtual booths are quite interesting to look at, and we'll be more than happy to answer all your questions there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so now our next stop is with Innovatrics. And I believe we have Mr. Peter Martis from Innovatrics.
Yes, we do. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear and see me okay?
Yes, you're fine.
Excellent. So I will share my screen right now. And obviously Apple Security asks me to give it the permission. I just did, so you should be able to see my screen right now. Are you, or is it?
No, we cannot see the screen.
There you go.
Now we do, yes.
Yeah, excellent. So thank you for my co-speakers. It's been an interesting run today indeed. I will be talking about the trusted enrollment, as in how do we interact between the citizens and the governments, especially during the pandemic times when the personal contact is not really possible. I do apologize for my voice. Actually, I am one of those that have been identified with COVID, not just being positive, but actually have the real sickness. So thanks for the Zoom platform and for the ability for me to share what I know with you, even given my conditions. So the idea is to keep the operations between, or the interaction between the governments and the citizens working and intact, even though the physical connection or interaction isn't possible. And this is what Innovatrics is focusing on as one of our core missions. We are a company which is based and headquartered in Slovakia, Central Europe, former Czechoslovakia, for those of you who are not familiar with European geography. We are proud of it because we have some of the best brains in the region. We've been on the market for more than 16 years now, primarily focusing on biometric projects for governments. And recently, given the popularity of biometrics, especially facial biometrics, we've been quite active and successful also in the enterprise world. So we are pretty much experienced in both domains. We are proud of some of the great references and projects we've been delivering in the past. As you can see, one of them is the election of biometric voters registration in Guinea in Africa, where we've been able to clarify and update the voters database. The idea there is that everybody gets to vote once, and that biometrics is an ideal platform for that. Another interesting project leveraging biometrics is criminal investigation in this essentially criminal platform in Indonesia, which is one of the largest biometric systems in the world. Middle East border control project. Middle East or border control is specific because you need to have the system up and running 24/7. A simple glitch can cause a huge traffic jams and queues and lines on the immigration. So you can't really afford to have the system down. And that's, again, the project we've been delivering. And it's purely based on biometrics. And one of the enterprise examples, it's Home Credit. It's a consumer finance outlet, which is very successful in Southeast Asia. As a matter of fact, Home Credit is the largest consumer finance provider worldwide. And they've been using biometrics for fraud prevention. So making sure people that are getting loans only get them once, because the business with fake IDs is quite successful in Southeast Asia. And getting a valid or legit ID on the street for $20 is quite simple. And so you can then apply for multiple loans with the same face or with different IDs. And then the facial recognition is what saves the provider to make sure that I only give this particular face loan once. This wouldn't be possible if we did not have a global presence. So we have offices in the US, Brazil, Taiwan, Singapore, now Dubai, and we're growing. But I don't want to make it look like we are really too global. We are global because we need to be with our clients, but we really are a European, Slovakian company. And I'm quite proud of that. A few milestones that we consider significant. And it also gives you an idea about how the market of biometrics is developing. Our first focus 15 years ago, 16 years ago, was on fingerprint. Because when you said biometrics 15 years ago, it was all about fingerprints. And primarily the use cases were in the government, so immigration, passports, or criminal. If you said biometrics for a general public, it had negative connotation, to say at least, if it wasn't associated directly with criminals. And 15 years later, everybody's unlocking their phone with biometrics and they are not even aware of it. So the progress the biometric technology has made as such is fantastic and phenomenal, I would say. And we are trying to adjust and adapt ourselves and R&D to not only keep pace with the development, we actually are trying to show it. We're trying to form it. We're trying to create the future of biometrics. And that led us from fingerprints to facial biometrics development. So we have developed our own facial biometrics engine, which is considered an objectively measured and benchmarked by NIST facial recognition vendor test benchmark as one of the most accurate on the planet. And then we tried to, or started to create solutions that would bring the benefits of biometrics to governments, to citizens, to clients of customers, banks, enterprises. And we introduced several interesting solutions, one of which is the one I will be talking about today. And the topic, once again, is the issuance of documents and its challenges, especially during the pandemic. We do know, I think this goes across the board, that the governments are not exactly known for the best customer service, right? I believe majority of people listening to this webinar have already opened a bank account remotely, be the N26 bank or the Revolut, which is quite successful these days. We know it can be done. Governments are not really early adopters. So when you need to apply for a new document or you need to submit your tax return, most cases you really have to go to a physical location and sign the paper and interact with the clerk, which is becoming nearly impossible these days. So we were trying to find a way around it, and we believed we did. And so the idea is to come from, I need to see you in person, dear citizen, because I need to take your ID, I need to look at you, I need to look at your photograph, and I need to verify it's you, and I need to see you in person, that you're actually alive. This cannot continue, and this cannot be the condition from now on. So we are trying to perform a similar activity, being the identity verification and personal check, without actually meeting the individual ever. And that goes for different services. It could be a document reissuance, so my driver's license expired or I lost it, I need a new one. It could be a visa application. It could be me submitting my legally obliged paperwork to the government e-portal, which then again is useless if I have to go there somewhere and physically sign it in front of the witness. And so we are trying to address this with biometrics technology. Specifically speaking, it's a facial biometrics, which makes a lot of things easier. And there are a lot of use cases possible these days, not only in government, but also in enterprise, thanks to facial recognition. And this complicated or maybe boring slide here what it shows is the improvement of accuracy of facial biometrics over the past 5 years. The accuracy of facial biometrics has been increased tenfold in the past 10 years. So it brought it from a nice to have a gimmick, because it was funny to see how the system is trying to look at nearest celebrity that looks like you, to an actual accurate biometric modality, which is at least as accurate as a fingerprint. In other words, your face is 100% identifying who you are and can basically confirm your identity. And it's as accurate as if you were taking fingerprints at the immigration site. So that's serious, and that's a good start for using face and facial comparison as one of the elements of the identity verification. So in general, what the technology can do, you can essentially work with the facial data, which is basically your selfie, which is the ID, photo ID that you have on your ID card or passport. And then the technology is doing several steps to compare all these, making sure it's you. There's different other attributes that come into the play that will help us to make a decision of whether or not this is intended fraud or it's a legit citizen doing everything as they should be doing. And what's also very important, we are trying to perform not only the individual check, but we are trying to check the database or the data we just collected against the existing database of citizens, maybe. So making sure this ID with this number has been issued to the person that looks like this, and the document is really expired, and the person really lives in London and not in Paris as where he's applying for a new visa from. So there's a lot of background checks we can perform in order to make sure that the citizen and his attempts are authentic and legit. And we can basically serve it in the very same way as if they were visiting our offices and premises. And now let's dig a little deeper of how this is done. So the basic premise is we cannot rely on personal contact. This is the situation now. It may be a situation in the future, even though the pandemic is completely gone and the vaccine is out there and business is back as to normal, or life is back to normal as usual. Why wouldn't we make the life of citizens easier by providing the service remotely? And that primarily goes with document reissuance. So if I am registered and known by my government for years, and I've been issued several IDs or driver's licenses in the past, and I just need a new one because the old one is expired or I lost it, I really don't want to go anywhere because they know enough about me to basically trust me. And the only step that has to be really taken care of is making sure that I'm me, and then I'm basically holding my authentic document. And that's what technology can help with. Another great use case, and we've seen this quite a lot in the recent past, and we have delivered already several projects for digital e-visa issuance. So when you are about to travel to a country that is requiring a visa, you don't have to go to an embassy or talk to their representative. You just go through what's called a secure enrollment, and basically from the comfort of your home, you apply yourself for e-visa using facial biometrics. Then you receive the e-visa, assuming it will be approved, to your smartphone, and that's the whole process. So there is no physical connection, and all you need is a unique digital device and your biometric data, of course. And one very interesting use case is proof of life in larger countries, and this can be quite difficult. We know we are paying pensions or welfare fees to people that should be registering themselves or presenting themselves on a regular basis to the authorities, especially elderly. We should make sure that they still are around, because there have been a lot of cases of fraud where family were collecting pension for people that were deceased for a long time. And this is really an ideal scenario or a use case for facial biometrics with so-called liveness detection. So all a person need to do, or the old person, what they need to do is basically they're just asked to look into the camera in their application on their smartphone. They do that. We check all the details, and we can really be confident that this particular person is still who we believe they are, and they're alive. So for a social insurance or any government authorities paying welfare fees, this is priceless. Now a little bit of a breakdown of how the document issuance or reissuance can work from the process perspective. So once your document is expired or lost you just basically go through a very simple process from the user perspective. You just take the scan of your ID that you currently possess. If you lost the driver's license, then it would be a ID card or a passport. Then you take a selfie. The technology does a lot of checks and then sequences to confirm all the data collected and gathered, evaluates that, and then based on the outcome, if everything was marked green, so to say, we would check the identity in the register, national registry, submit the request to the issuance team that would issue the document, a new driver's license. That would be then sent via the register email to the person that has requested for it. You receive it from the post, and then what you do, you basically activate it, just like you activate your newly received credit card. And so the whole process is completely contactless. You never meet a breathing soul from government, and yet it's just as secure as you were to come to the nearest government office. Because what these ladies do there anyway is just make a visual check of yourself, your appearance, and the card you brought. So it's pretty much as secure, if not more, doing that using the technology. And the citizen does not have to really leave their home. Another example, e-visa. It's a great automation opportunity for basically any government that is issuing or requesting visa from visitors, because this can be logistically quite complex these days. Applying for US visa from Europe, now that we have ESTA, is not a problem, but my friends from Ukraine, if they want to go through the process, they actually are unable to obtain US visa for the past 6 months because these embassies are closed. You cannot go to the interviews, and that's a real, blocker that is unrequired for. And so with the e-visa approach, again, you use the same technology. It's called, in our case, it's called Digital Onboarding Toolkit, which brings you through taking the ID of the photo, which is with the passport. It's much better that passports actually have, this is interesting, the Zoom background removal. So passports do have, most of them, the NFC chip, so machine near field communication, or basically a radio chip that's built in the passport and can be read out by any smartphone. And so with this approach, you can essentially just use the chip in the passport and your smartphone to read all the personal details, which are trusted because the chip is secure. Then you do take a selfie. Then we do a so-called overall trust score evaluation. So we take into the consideration several different parameters. And if we consider this attempt legitimate and valid, we submit the data to the backend ABIS, where the visa issuance entity is dealing with it and basically evaluating and issuing the electronic visa, which then again, if you are approaching the border control and the border crossing, the officer can use the existing database data that has been gathered during the onboarding process to check that you crossing the border is actually the same person that has been issued the visa. Particular features that should be really kept an eye on are this. They look very simple, and the whole process is shockingly smooth. Even I would say even too good to be true. But there's a lot of technological hardcore hacks that is happening behind to make sure this is really a valid onboarding process. Imagine banks are issuing credit cards and expecting payments and opening bank accounts, and banks do have to be compliant with the anti-money laundering policies. Obviously, from the government perspective, banks is just a laughable, funky business, because if you issue a visa or God forbid a passport to somebody who shouldn't get it, that's a completely different level of risk. That's why it's even more important to have all these attributes in place before you can go digital. And what you see here is the first and foremost is the identity verification, the very same process that's performed by a human being if I come to an embassy, right? They check all my paperwork, they look at me, they do a background check, and we want to be able to do the same thing without actually meeting the individual. So when somebody's applying for a new document or is actually asking the government to trust them, we need to perform liveness check, which means making sure the person that holds the phone, looks into the camera, is an actual human being and not a printed paper or photograph or a screen replay attack. We need to be able to do a facial matching of biometrics. This is actually very crucial. You are comparing the face that's been captured by the camera, so selfie. You're comparing the face that's printed on the document, possibly written or stored on the chip. And the facial biometrics is the key here, because the engine tells you yes or no. It tells you this is the same person or it's not the same person. And then we work with additional data that can indicate a suspicious behavior, such as gender and age checking. Each personal document carries the information about your date of birth and the gender, and our algorithm can actually detect gender and the age from the photograph. So when I take a selfie, our engine tells me I'm 40 and I'm male. And this should match the details that are basically stored on the ID card. If there is any discrepancy, or discrepancy, I stole somebody's passport and he's 20 years older than me, the engine would detect this gap and would mark it with a red flag. So somebody doing a manual check would see this immediately. And also one important thing, or one of the important things, is document authenticity check. You need to make sure the document that's being presented is actually authentic and it's not a fake. This is quite tricky to perform without a proper hardware that every immigration officer has, but there are techniques and procedures to minimize the risk of fraudulent ID. And the second level, then, once you believe that somebody...
sorry, Mr. Martin, we're over time. I'm very
Am
sorry.
I?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm really sorry.
All right.
Yeah. So
should I just finish up, or let me see? This is pretty much it. Yeah.
We actually have another presentation after this and a symposium, so we literally do not have the time to squeeze. I'm
Okay, no
sorry
problem.
about
Actually, this is my last slide. There was a little video sample then, so we can pretty much skip this.
yeah, I think we'll have to skip it. I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for that. If you just so if anybody who's interested can definitely visit your booth. You can just say your goodbye and we'll just move on.
All right. Thank you very much.
you.
Then. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Kennedy. Welcome.
Thanks, Mishka. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to showcase our products. My name is Paul Kennedy, and I'm based in South Africa, and I'm supported by my colleague, Bonnie Park, who's based in Korea. Today, we'll run through an introduction to Suprema ID, who is now 20 years old, and our flagship products. Mishka, can you run the video, please? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever in the world you may be. Welcome to Suprema ID's virtual booth. My name is Paul Kennedy and I represent Suprema in Africa. Welcome to sunny South Africa, where we are presenting from Sandton. And as many of you know, Sandton houses the richest square mile in Africa. And for those of you who haven't been to Sandton, Sandton has the most brilliant restaurants. It is a shopper's mecca and is a thriving business hub. To introduce Suprema ID, Suprema ID's head office is in Korea, and we have sales staff in the United States of America, South Africa, India, and Korea. And through that team, as well as our global sales channel, we cover the whole world in terms of sales reach. Over 75% of Suprema ID's sales revenue comes from our global channels. Suprema's core competency is the manufacture and sales of biometric devices. Suprema ID's commitment to research and development is a key element of our success. Over 40% of employees work in R&D. Over 16% of our annual revenue is put towards research and development. Suprema ID has over 100 patents and continually focuses on introducing new technology initiatives. To maximize the benefits and features from our products, we've integrated with a number of mobile device manufacturers, as well as kit manufacturers, systems integrators, and solution suppliers. Our technology is sold into a broad range of applications, such as enrollment, registration, verification, and authentication. Our biometric products are integrated into a range of solutions, such as national ID, voter registration, voter verification, eKYC, SIM registration, financial services, and law enforcement. Our passport reader can be used in the desktop environment, or it could actually be used integrated into eGates and into ePassport solutions. We have three categories of biometric product. First one is authentication scanners, and these are known as the BioMini series. This includes the BioMini Slim 2, the BioMini Slim 3, and the BioMini Combo, which is a combination of fingerprint scanner and card reader. The second category is enrollment scanners, and these are known as the RealScan range. We have the RealScan G1 for single fingerprint enrollment, the RealScan D for dual fingerprint enrollment, the RealScan G10, which is a 442 slab scanner, and the RSFC, which is a palm print scanner. The third category is our passport reader, the RealPass-N, which, as mentioned before, can be used in the desktop environment or integrated into solutions such as ePassport or eGates and kiosks. We will now introduce our flagship products. First product is the BioMini Slim 2, which is a FAP20 single fingerprint scanner, which has live fingerprint detection, is FBI PIV and FBI Mobile ID FAP20 certified. The BioMini Slim 2 features Suprema ID's multiple dynamic range technology, which provides for capturing high-quality fingerprint images even when the finger is dry or wet, and allows one to operate under direct sunlight up to 100,000 lux. This makes it perfect for mobile applications. The BioMini Slim 2 consumes up to 95% less power than many of the competitors' products. The second product is the BioMini Slim 3. This is a FAP30 single fingerprint scanner, which has live fingerprint detection, is FBI PIV and FBI Mobile ID FAP30 certified. Being FAP30, the scanning surface is larger than that of the BioMini Slim 2, allowing for capture of a larger print size. The BioMini Slim 3 also features Suprema ID's multi-dynamic range technology and the world's best performing fingerprint algorithm, through which we've received top results in NIST Minix tests and FVC. It is Windows, Android, and Linux compatible and is easily integrated through the use of Suprema ID's SDKs. The RealScan G10, known as the RSG10, is a compact live scanner for single and 10 print capture. The RSG10 is the perfect portable live scanner for civil and criminal applications. The RSG10 is therefore typically used in large-scale national programs where 10 prints are required to be captured and the fingerprint images are of a high quality. Suprema ID has sold over 50,000 RSG10 scanners into Africa. The RSG10 has SDKs for Windows, Linux, and Android. The RealPass N document scanner is a compact, full-page and multifunctional document reader for one-step reading of multiple document types, including ICAO standard documents such as e-passport, e-visa, ID cards, and 1 or 2 D-barcodes. The RealPass N is designed to capture or extract data from the visual data page and RFID chip of electronic documents quickly and reliably in a variety of public and commercial sectors. By design and performance innovation, it provides 600 dpi high resolution. It has a USB 3 interface, has tempered glass with IP54 surface and anti-glare technology to capture images and data in multiple illuminations such as white, IR, and UV. RealPass is an ideal and ergonomic form factor with low profile and simple shape for space saving and easy integration into self-service kiosks, e-gates, and counters. Thank you once again for visiting our virtual booth and for the opportunity to introduce our products to you. Please contact us on the Wover app if you need additional information or if you'd like to arrange a meeting. We are now available for questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. That was delightful.
Thanks, Mishka.
All right. So we have one question that how has COVID impacted you, and how will this technology adopt in the context of COVID?
COVID has affected us in terms of turnover, like it has affected many other companies. Business definitely slowed during the peak of COVID. Since coming towards the end of this year, we managed to get quite a few large orders, so business definitely picked up. In terms of national ID or criminal projects, the contact fingerprint scanner will still remain around for some time to come, because in terms of forensic images, it is the best quality product to give you the right images for that purpose. Obviously, contactless has played a huge part during this period, and Suprema is definitely doing work in the background in terms of contactless products.
And so do we see a future of contactless products from Suprema?
Yes, sometime in the future, definitely.
Okay, great. And can you speak about the durability of your products, of your scanners?
Yeah, so our products are highly durable. The surface that is used on the scanners can withstand scratching and a large degree of impact. So yeah, the scanners are very much durable products and have a very long life. We've got ID scanners in multiple national projects in Africa, and they've been around since 2012, 2013, and still operating fully.
And so following up on that, like have any governments delayed their procurements or decided to procure any other kinds of technology based on today's situation?
Not at the moment. Most of the projects that we're dealing with at the moment are national ID or criminal-based projects. And as I mentioned, contact fingerprint scanners are the right scanners for that environment at this point in time. So no, we haven't had any of the projects cancelled. A lot of them have obviously been postponed due to COVID-19, but the projects have not been cancelled. They'll definitely kick off as we move along.
And could you tell us if the scanners plates, are they coated?
That's a good question. I actually don't have a full answer for that. I know that we've coated our products so they have keys and buttons with plastic membranes, but we don't have a special coating, as far as I'm aware, on the surface of the product.
And we were also kind of wondering about the security and accuracy of this. Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Yes, our products have been used in very high security environments and have performed exceptionally well. I don't have the stats in front of me of the false rejection rate, etc. But yes, our products have performed extremely well in harsh conditions as well as high secure applications.
All right, and just one more, can you speak about the finger condition robustness?
Yes, so we've got multi-dynamic range technology, which was introduced by Suprema. And this allows one to capture fingers from wet right through to dry fingers, and also can work under direct sunlight up to 100,000 lux. So these devices are perfect for operation in the mobile space.
All right, so that seems to be all the questions we have now. Sometimes they start filtering in later, so do check it out on Whova. But thank you so much, Paul. Do you want to close some remarks?
Thanks, Mishka, will do. Everyone that's attending, please visit our virtual booth. We would love to see you there, and we'd love to take your questions. And if you want to have a chat, please let us know. Thanks a lot.